Hello, I'm Dr. Xiangping Susie Du. Today we are going to talk about TurnItIn. Together with many resources Case has already provided, and I'd like to explain to you what is TurnItIn and how to use TurnItIn and how to interpret a TurnItIn report in relation to students' dissertation and final research project. So what is TurnItIn and why academic member of staff encouraging students to use TurnItIn to check their work? So TurnItIn is an online text matching software, checks the text matches online and compares it with previously published materials. So that means any work that you have submitted on your StudyNet will be checked against any material that is already available online. So it is an aid to detect and deter plagiarism, but not a plagiarism detector on its own. So that means it checks plagiarism, it checks whether your work plagiarize other people's work already published. So thirdly, it is a learning and teaching tool in the context of academic integrity. So as mentioned earlier, it is not a plagiarism detector on its own. The purpose for you to use TurnItIn is for you to improve your work and hopefully improve your academic integrity. That links to the final point. It is used as a developmental tool for students to improve their academic writing by being enabled to submit draft to TurnItIn. So normally, if your tutor tell you that your work will be checked via TurnItIn to check whether you have committed to plagiarism or academic misconduct or not, so they normally first of all enable you to submit your draft work to TurnItIn first, so you can improve it based on the TurnItIn report before your final submission. As mentioned earlier, TurnItIn is used as a learning and teaching tool and help you to develop your academic writing. However, in the meantime, it is also used as a tool to detect and deter plagiarism. So what is plagiarism? So plagiarism is a representation of other people's work as your own without acknowledgement. So what that means? So it means you've written your work based on other people's idea or based on other people's text, but may forgot to or may missed the reference or acknowledging the source. So it might include where you directly quoted other people's work but missed a reference or paraphrasing, and inaccurate citations, or failure to acknowledge the assistance or the original source. Or it could be auto-plagiarism, where you submitted a previous work and as your new submission, or you have copy-pasted a substantial amount of your previous work in your own work. In the Hertfordshire Business School, TurnItIn is used as a developmental tool for students to improve their academic writing. TurnItIn is part of the StudyNet module site function, and when it is set up, your module leader normally informs you that it is available for you to check your work, and sometimes it normally leads to where your final submission might be checked via TurnItIn. So if your module leader told you TurnItIn draft submission is available, please do use it. So for example, for the final dissertation or research project, so every final submission would be checked via TurnItIn. Therefore, your module leader would normally tell you the draft submission to TurnItIn is available for you to check before your final submission. Therefore, so you must utilize the opportunity before you submit your work final version, because if you don't check it, it could be you committed to plagiarism but without being aware of it. So when a TurnItIn has been set up on your module site, you should be able to find it from the assignment section on the module site. So for example, in here, so you can say there's one assignment says check your work TurnItIn originality report alongside your final submission on top. So what you need to do then is before your final submission, normally a few days or a week before your final submission, you use the TurnItIn function, click into check your work TurnItIn report section and submit your draft. And then you just need to follow the instruction to submit your draft assignment. from here, so submit assignment. And also it's important for you to probably read through, the text to say what it is, and there also another video recording explain to you how to find your Turnitin report and what you need to do next. And then it leads you to this web page where you need to upload the file, and then click to find your file, upload it, and also you need to agree the end user license agreement to say this is your own work. After you've submitted your draft assignment, you will see this web page. And next, what you need to do is to click the submission details on the right-hand side of the module site. And then you will see this web page. It says your draft submission here, and then there's a clock in the middle, and where also on the right says view feedback. So feedback is normally not available for you to view unless your tutor comment on your draft submission. But the clock indicates it is where your work, your draft submission is being submitted to the Turnitin. So you need to wait for a bit for the Turnitin to generate the report. So after your draft has been fully submitted to Turnitin, so where the clock will be changed to a little icon. So this indicates the percentage of the text in your work matches the sources in the Turnitin database. And then here you can see a green icon, but it could be a blue or yellow or orange or red. So they indicate the extent to which your work has matched with the original source. For example, my one shows blue. It means there's about one word or 24% matching text. But when it goes to yellow or orange or red, it gets more serious. So what you need to do next is to click in the green button to check exactly where your work has plagiarized or matched with the original source. And it is important to highlight there's no ideal percentage to look for. It's not about it's green, therefore my work is is great, so you don't need to look into the work originality report, or if it's red, it's rubbish. So it's important for you to go into the originality report and click into the blue green button here, or it could be yellow or orange, so to find out the exact originality report, which we're going to explain in a minute. The purpose of submitting a draft work to Turnitin is for you to improve your academic writing, to see where you have directly quoted but missed the references, or where you have got paraphrasing and you need to improve it. Yeah, so therefore you need to click into the little icon and then find out the Turnitin report so you can improve it. So click the green button earlier as we said, and then it pop out a little window. You need to agree to the end user license agreement. Click agree, and what you will say is something like this, is where your work on the left hand side, and then the percentage, mine has 9% similarity with the text available on the database. And then you need to click into the 9%, the match overview, and then you will see the right hand side, there will be a breakdown of the matching. So you will see where exactly your work has matched with and how much percentage each. So in the next few slides, I'm going to explain to you how you can interpret a Turnitin originality report based on an example of a dissertation submitted a few years earlier. As you have seen earlier, this is what a Turnitin similarity report looks like. So on the left-hand side is what your draft assignment is, which has been highlighted in different colors and number coded against the right-hand side. So identifies the matches from various sources online. And on the top, it shows the overall percentage of your work similar to the original source. And also the colors and the numbers are coded matching against your own draft, so which you can identify where exactly matches to what. Personally, I think the best way to look through the Turnitin originality report is from the very beginning of your draft to the very end. So you go through page by page. But another way is where you can look into the similarity report from the right hand side. So you can click into the large match first to see, oh my God, where it is matches the most. And then if you click on the first, so you can say your work matches to a website mostly, and we're highlighting in red against your original draft. And then on this page, as you can say, so most of this page is from the #1 website. And in most of cases, the student has not correctly referenced or acknowledged the source. Yeah, so this is a very large match to a single source. And then next you can say there are a lot of small matches, 1% to various of different sources. And that doesn't mean 1% is good, but it is definitely better. But in a way, it doesn't mean that is something that you don't have to worry about. You still need to click in it and to see whether you have done similar mistakes where you have badly paraphrased or poorly quoted with no appropriate referencing. So in this page, it shows a very poorly paraphrased work and where you have to make changes. So this is what the purpose of TurnItIn. So it make you realize that you made mistakes and you haven't paraphrased well, or you missed the references, and then now is opportunity for you to improve it before your final submission, before your supervisor or academic conduct officer identifies this, and in which case, it's an academic misconduct case. Now let's go into a detailed example here. And if you click into the 9% and then to view the match breakdown, and then we'll take you to the next page where it shows here underneath the 9%, you will say there are in total 78 instances in your draft that matches to the original source, which is the one source, the government. And as you can see on the left hand side in your work, you will be able to say, so this highlighted red part of your work has been identified as matching the original source, which is highlighted in red. And your work, there's only 2 words, 1 reference and 1 word hasn't been highlighted in red. That means that is where the author has changed or substitute with a synonym, or deliberately put a reference there. But this is not accurate referencing, is it? So this is where students still need to make improvement. And obviously, if students click the triangle arrow on the right hand side, they will be able to see more individual instances like this to see where exactly the match is, so the students can make corrections and improvement accordingly. Okay. The early example on the 9% is definitely a very serious one, and the students do need to look into it and make corrections accordingly. But as we mentioned earlier, the 1% does not necessarily mean it is not a problem. So students still need to go into it and then look into whether there's any area students need to make an improvement. So the example on this slide shows the 1% match is a big problem, because as you can see from the original source, in this table, it seems the students has copy-pasted all the text from the original source without indication of an direct quotation or any paraphrasing. So therefore, students do need to make improvement on this, either to rewrite it or put direct quotations or try to paraphrase it accordingly. In the meantime, it's worth noting that TurnItIn also identifies that correctly quoted text, because it is the same as the original text, and therefore it will be identified. However, you can't find this, and in this case, the student has accurately quoted where it has a surname, the year, the page number, and the quoted text is in italics and in an inverted comma. So that means that quotation itself is accurate, but it has still been identified. But another point to note is, we mentioned if you use direct quotation, it must be from a very academic and credible source. But in this case, it shows this directly quoted text is from a slideshare.net. So which definitely says something that this is not probably as regarded as credible and academic enough. Is something that students need to be aware as well. So this is another function of the TurnItIn, where it identifies the sources and then to check the credibility and of the source. In addition, TurnItIn also identified some commonly used words or phrases, for example, in this case, on the other hand, and in the public sector, and also identified some sources that you may have used exactly the same as other people and written accurately in the same way as others, so which may not be a big issue. And also it identifies the same format. So for example, your final research project or dissertation all require you to put the university's title and the year, so in which case that will be a match, will be highlighted when through TurnItIn. But this is not something you need to worry about, and the example on this page shows the commonly used phrases and the references in text citations, and then the same format is not something that students need to worry about. So when you submit your postgraduate dissertation or final research project to TurnItIn, you may find your cover page will be highlighted and the ethics form will be highlighted. And on the right hand side, it shows it matches to something has been submitted to the University of Hertfordshire. But this all regarded as the formatting part, and you don't have to worry about this. I hope the above gives you an idea about what TurnItIn is and how to use TurnItIn and how to interpret a TurnItIn report and how you can make improvement based on the TurnItIn Originality report, and then to make relevant changes so to improve your academic writing. As we mentioned, every final postgraduate dissertation or research project will be submitted to TurnItIn by a member of staff to check the plagiarism and similarity index in a way. So therefore, you must utilize the opportunity to submit your draft to TurnItIn. So go through this process and make improvement by yourself before you submit your final version. And also it is important for you to note, low percentage does not necessarily mean your work is perfect and no need to make improvement. So you still have to go into the originality report and run through the report itself and to say where you may haven't accurately referenced or quoted, and then you may need to better paraphrase and make changes. And if your work has high similarity index and it's very definitely you have to put a lot of time and effort to work through the report and make relevant changes. Yeah, and if it comes back as 1% match and it is something that you have to really look into it, either you have cloned with other people or copied from somebody else, or it is an accidental resubmission of your draft. So that is something you have to contact the technical people to get it sorted. Last but not least, I'd like to refer you to many other different TurnItIn related resources. So first, CASE website has a Harvard Referencing Academic Integrity section where it has various recordings around academic integrity and TurnItIn and plagiarism. So please do have a go if you feel the need. And also the university's Learning and Teaching Innovation Center has many TurnItIn related resources as well. And the university has a TurnItIn webpage. So if you go to ask.hars.ac.uk/TurnItIn, and you will find all the resources for students, for member of staff, and for researchers around TurnItIn. So TurnItIn itself has a help section which you may want to explore if need to be, but hopefully you don't need to go that far with the support offered by the CASE and by the university. And hope you utilize the TurnItIn well on your draft submission, and hope you can improve your academic writing by the support via TurnItIn. Best of luck. Thank you.